Hello, everybody. We are the Fuel for Thought team. I'm Beth.
I'm Laura.
I'm Kimberly.
And I'm Sam.
Today, we are going to go over our project and the situation of the community that our project will be implemented in. On April 29th of 2017, the county of Van Zandt, Texas was hit by 5 confirmed tornadoes, leaving 4 dead, unknown injured, and many residents of the cities of Fruitvale, Grand Saline, and Canton displaced. It has been a long recovery, and the citizens of Van Zandt have further to go. Unfortunately, Van Zandt County did not qualify for FEMA funding, as the destruction did not meet the Texas threshold for disaster funding. As the community continues to be faced with post-tornado life, financial support will be a key part of Van Zandt County rebuilding. Our objective was to create an intervention program for the county in order to improve their quality of life.
Hi everyone, I'm Laura Mayfield. Coming from a background in nutritional science and as a certified health education specialist, I crafted this program with my teammates to ensure the accuracy and relevance of the health information included in this project. According to the Health Status of Northeast Texas 2016 report, heart disease is the leading cause of death in Northeast Texas. Obesity, which has a prevalence of 35% in Northeast Texas adults, is a risk factor for many diseases, including cardiovascular disease. Poor nutrition, along with physical inactivity, can both contribute to overweight and obesity. After discussion with key members of the disaster relief team in Van Zandt County, we decided a nutrition intervention would best serve the needs of children in the area. Additionally, our nutrition intervention aims to meet Healthy People 2020 goals of reducing the incidence of overweight and obesity in children and decreasing the number of children already in those categories. We chose to use the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Team Nutrition MyPlate curricula as the basis for our Fuel for Thought program, as they have been designed specifically for kids and are evidence-based. The USDA Team Nutrition Initiative utilizes the Dietary Guidelines for Americans for 2015 to 2020, which are created through a joint effort of professionals in the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the USDA. The dietary guidelines, and therefore MyPlate, reflect the most recent evaluated evidence in nutritional science. In addition to nutrition lessons, we decided to include a reflection component so that students can choose how to incorporate what they are being taught into a more individualized learning experience, making the lessons more applicable to their everyday lives.
Thanks, Laura. Hi, everybody. I'm Kimberly Morris, and I'm just going to briefly walk you through the workbook component of our project. The intention of this workbook was to ensure the students would have something to write in, learn from, and have activities to apply new knowledge in. In addition, we hope that this workbook will be something students can keep and continue to use following the program's conclusion. Our hope is that the workbook will serve as a supplement for what is being taught in lessons pertaining to nutrition and basic gardening by hired professionals. In its current state, the workbook contains 11 lessons intended to be delivered over the course of 11 weeks, including a day off. Most of the lessons cover a topic one day and require the students to apply the knowledge the next day. We reason that by including an application point, we would increase future self-efficacy when applying this knowledge later on. The lessons were developed based off the MyPlate best practices for 3rd through 5th graders, in addition to other resources. Our hope would be to continue to develop this workbook further if needed. For example, including more specific details about subcategories of foods and the interweaving of that knowledge into the food choice process. So without further ado, this is Fuel for Thought. You can see each lesson highlights knowledge and key concepts, as well as suggested time points for each lesson. Most of the lessons are aimed to be completed in a 30 to 60 minute time frame, but again, this can be adjusted to fit the needs of the course. The first lesson covers the 5 food groups as outlined in the USDA MyPlate in a way that incorporates food choice into the lesson. Because Fruitvale ISD is a participant of the Free Lunch, Free Breakfast program, one of the aims of this program is to encourage healthier food decisions. By requiring students to think about what they are putting into their bodies, our hope is that they will make healthier decisions in what they choose to eat. This second lesson then asks the students to apply the knowledge of the first lessons. Lessons 3 and 4 go more into the gardening aspect of the program, describing what soil is and the layers it consists of. You can see here that a poster is referenced. In creating the program, we noticed several visual activities that contain key information, and instead of reworking these, we chose to include them in our original capacity in the section entitled Posters. You can see here that a poster is referenced. In creating the program, we noticed several visuals and activities that contain key information, and instead of reworking these, we chose to include them in their original capacity in a section entitled Posters. You can see here that a poster is referenced. In creating the program, we noticed several visuals and activities that contain key information, and instead of reworking these, we chose to include them in their original capacity in a section entitled Posters. So quickly scrolling down, we can see that this poster is by the USDA and discusses some cool facts about soil. Day 5 discusses hidden ingredients, which leads into a discussion of nutrition labels in Day 6 and applying the nutrition label knowledge in Day 7. Day 8 brings in a discussion of balance, and Day 9 and 10 we discuss basic anatomy of the seed growth and growth conditions and ask the students to choose a plant to research that they would like to grow in their garden. Finally, Day 11 wraps up the lessons with a discussion of advertising using examples of good foods to illustrate the importance of knowing what foods contain over again. I will now turn the microphone over to Sam, who will discuss how these pages fit into existing TEKS requirements and budgeting for this program.
Thank you, Kimberly. My name is Sam Harrison, and I will be discussing the evaluation tools and business end aspects of our project. The evaluative tool for our Fuel for Thought workbook is a pre-test, post-test, utilizing a Likert scale to measure confidence in nutrition and gardening knowledge corresponding to the primary program aims. Children indicate to what degree they agree with the statement or feel confident on the subject. There are 5 questions, and the scale for each question is 1 through 5. The pre-test is identical to the post-test in order to evaluate the same criteria after completion of the program. This test is a short but effective way to evaluate program effectiveness. Using my educational background as a former Texas teacher, I was able to align the prototype workbook with Texas Educator Knowledge and Skills, or TEKS, for health, physical education, science, and English language arts reading standards for the 5th grade level. These educational aims can be adjusted for different grade levels using the appropriate grade level of TEKS and Bloom's taxonomy for educational learning objectives. We have also outlined what should be included in the final project. This is a sample program budget for the Fuel for Thought program that incorporates both startup and operating expenses, as well as potential grants and other income sources. Many costs of the program can be offset by in-kind donations of goods and labor. The 2 grants that we found would apply to the garden portion of our program are the School Garden Grant, provided yearly by the Whole Kids Foundation in the amount of $2,000, and the Youth Garden Grant, also yearly, funded by an association of organizations that support youth gardening, for which the award amounts vary from $600 in tools and supplies to $1,600 in funds. We hope that our contribution to this community will provide the children of Van Zandt County with a resilience that will aid in the rebuilding efforts that are already underway. We thank you for your time and consideration.